my channel, Code with Fernando. In this video, we are going to continue with Phase 2, Module 1. It's going to be like Part 2, Understanding Mono and Flux. Behind the scenes, subscription and list evaluation. I know we have already seen this about subscription and list evaluation before, but it's quite important to really understand what's going on under the hood. Okay, so let's go. Streams are lazy by default. We know that already. Okay, no data is processed until subscribe is called. Operators like map, filter, or do on next are only active on subscription. Okay, then you define the pipeline declarative, but execution is different. When this method, I mean the of subscribe, is invoked, this method is called, the data start flowing through the pipeline. Each operator, such as do on next, is triggered in sequence. Values are remitted to the subscriber. So this lazy evaluation, it ensures better performance and resource efficiency, complete control over when and how computation occurs. So think of it like setting up a recipe. Nothing is cooked until you press start. Let's continue with our code demonstration about lazy evaluation. Okay, I know we have seen this already like a lot, but for just one more time, okay? So let's call this just string flux, simple as that. We don't need to do a lot of in here. So let's just book A, the book B, and finally we have book C. Okay. So let's see and print do on next. So what are we doing here? Let's print the title of this. Title processing. Processing is that. Title. Okay, simple as that. Now what do? We subscribe. Okay, let me print something here. Pipeline define. What else? But not executed, because nothing happens unless we subscribe. So we string with flux. Now subscribe. And now let's print book. Receive. No, it's not like that. It's like that. Okay, and now let's print the book title. Let's create space in here. Okay, that's it. No more. It's quite easy, quite short, easy to understand. Great. So what do we get in here? Okay, this is printed, pipeline defines but not executed. Okay, we know that. Then we're subscribing to this stream. So that's why we see processing. Okay, processing book A. Then what do we get? We get this received by title. Let's continue with empty and error cases. So handling empty streams. Sometimes a string completes without emitting any data. Okay, examples: no search results found, no user match in a database, a filter remove all elements. So what do we do in these cases? So we use mono empty for 0 or 1 result. Or on the other hand, we use flux empty for 0 of many items. So this avoids nulls and keeps the stream declarative and composable. I'm sorry. So continue. Handling errors in streams. So when something goes wrong during execution, examples: database is unreachable, failure, invalid input detected. So what do we do in those cases? So in these cases, we use mono error, okay, and then we can use flux error to emit a terminal error signal. Simple as that. This signals failure effectively without throwing exceptions. So why does this matter? So it's really important to understand that cleanly handles no data and error scenarios without breaking reactive flow. So we use these signals in order not to break the flow, okay, of the stream. So it keeps the pipeline declarative because no imperative error handling, consistent, success, empty, and failure paths handled alike. Extensible supports recovery via operators like onResume or switch if empty. So it encourages better separation of concepts and testability. Okay, let's continue with our code example about handling empty errors. Okay, so first of all, let's create a static method. Okay, because we are gonna use this method later. What I'm doing here? Okay, simulate user lookup, because this is what we are going to do with this method. Okay, so this is going to be a public sorry, public static. This will return a mono or string of type string. Okay, let's call it find by no, find user. It's better, so much cleaner. Find user by oh, oh. Okay, this will be a type string, and let's call this user ID. Okay, so if our user ID it's equals, okay, equals to what about unknown ID? Okay, so in that case, what do? We return a mono empty. Mono empty. Okay, another condition. Else if. So if user ID is equals to what about db fail? So in this case, what we do? We return mono ever, and here we runtime exception. Okay, let's call this database not reachable. Okay, database. Otherwise, what do? We just return a mono, just a user. Okay, let's call this user. Okay, let's call it ghost. So this is going to be our okay semicolon here. Okay, great. So in here, what do we do? Okay, let's create our first example. It's going to be example number 1. Okay, mono example. Mono example. User not found. Okay, quite simple. Okay, let's create our mono of type string. So let's create let's give this string a name, user lookup. Okay, then user by ID. Okay, let's call this the same as this. Okay, so then what do we do? Okay, we have already here. So we need to use user lookup subscribe. We need to subscribe. So in here, let's bring this result user found user. Okay, and let's print this. Okay, in here, let's print the error. And here, let's get the get message. Nice. And finally, let's print no user found. No user found. Okay, great. No, not here. Okay, we have our stream here, find user by ID. Okay, then we are subscribing to that, and we are printing. Okay, let me do this. Okay, let's run this. Great. No user found. Yes, because in here we get an empty, empty mono. Okay, then what do we get? So A user is not found. Yes, sure, we don't have any user to show, so that's why we see no user found. Okay, let's create our second static method. This one will be, let's simulate we are getting books. We are getting books. Okay, so in here we create our second static method. Second static flux, because it could be a flux type string. Let's call it get book in stock. Let's receive a boolean parameter. Okay, simulate ever. And what are we getting here? If simulate ever, what are we doing here? We return a flux ever. Okay, in here runtime exception connection timeout. Yes, great. In here, let's create a boolean variable. Boolean, what about has book? Let's assign it false. Okay, so if has books, so if this is true, what are we doing here? We return a flux just and as usual book A, okay, book B, and book C. No more. Okay. Otherwise, what are we going to return? We'll return empty flux. Okay. Flux, not error, empty. Okay, great. So in here, what do we do? This is going to be our example number 2. Like that. Example 2. So no books, no books in stock. So okay, let's start. Let's create our flux type string. Here, books in stock. Okay, let's call this method get books. Let's call it string passive false. Okay, so now what do we need to do? We need to subscribe book booking stock. Okay, now subscribe. Okay, in here let's print the book. Okay, system.out. Okay, book. Okay, now let's print the error just in case. Error get message, and finally no books available. Simple as that. Okay, let's print this. Okay, let's run this. It's better to say that. Okay, great. We don't see any book because we are passing false in here. So this one, if false, it never reaches here. So this one, if false, it has never changed. It returns just empty, flux empty. So that's why we see this. No books available. There's also no error for that. So great. Let's go to example number 3. Okay. Example number 3 will be a mono error example. Okay. Example 3. Oh, this will be database down in case database is not working anymore. This will be a type string. Okay, in here what do we do? Let's call this user with ever. Okay, user with ever. We use which one? With static method. Find my user ID. Okay, find my user by name. ID. I'm sorry, and let's pass this db fail. This is what we need to do in here. Okay, so later what do we do? We subscribe user with error. Okay, subscribe user and let's print the user, right? and user. And here, the error, let's print the error. Okay, but don't just print error, something like that. Better said, what about user lookup failed because it's a failure. Let's remember that. Now let's print the message. Okay, and here finally, what are we gonna do? Simple as saying done because it's done. Okay, I think we can run this now. Okay, let's see this. User lookup failed. Database not reachable. Okay, because let's check. Find my user ID. Find my user ID. We get we get this runtime exception. Database not reachable. Database not reachable. That's why we get this print information. Okay, the last one. Okay, let's continue with example number 4. Example number 4 will be a connection failure. Okay, let's call this connection failure. Okay, what about this? Let's get flux type string uh, books with error. Okay, so let's call this. We don't need to see this. Get book in stock, and let's pass it through. Okay, now it's going to change because true it's equal simulate the error. Let's see what happens in here. Get book in stock. Okay, let's go to this method. If it's true, so in this condition, this will be true. This is going to happen. Connection timeout. Okay, let's see this in action. So book with error. So I think I'm just gonna copy this. But let's not call it book. Let's subscribe. Okay, but let's call it book. Okay, let's bring book in here, and here also book. But we are not going to see any book, so it doesn't matter really. Then here let's print. And what about fail? Fail to load books because that's the error that we are getting right. Books. Okay, we have printed the message. We have seen the message here, and here this is really important to see this. Books load complete. Great. Okay. Okay, let's see this in action. Number 4. Great. User lookup failed database not reachable. Okay, no, this not. Okay, let me print this. What about in here? Let's print so we can see in a better way. Okay, just a space in here. Now we can see this. Okay, fail to load books, connection timeout. Okay, fail to load books, connection timeout. Why? Because we are passing through here. So passing through in this static method means that we have sending an error, whatever runtime exception.